Now let's talk about U.S. equities. Last week, when Trump the job report came out, and it wasn't to his liking, and stock market reacted negatively to that. Had pretty sharp pullback for the day,
That's
and
funny that
he
it wasn't
fired.
so.
You about to lose your job.
He fired. What was the official title? Head of labor
Statistics. Believe so. Yep.
It rallied back again today. So, but it's crazy because I saw one person on YouTube. No matter what you do, it's always going to be a critic. Like one person on YouTube was like, "Don't listen to these guys. Stock market is falling apart as we speak." This was on Friday, and I'm like, at this point, anybody that watches Market Mondays knows that when you see days like that, that's the opportunity for you to actually buy. Right? You should actually be grateful for a pullback because that actually is a buying opportunity, right? But I mean, man, stock market's all-time highs. You have to have a pullback. It only makes sense. So for investors, I know a lot of investors was looking at that as an opportunity to maybe start, deploying some capital.
Yeah.
But is this a long-term problem? Like he did fire her. So, the statistics definitely.
Well, the original report came out and the numbers are low. And I think what did the cause the firing was that they went back and revised June and they went back and revised May, and those numbers were completely off, which made it look a little bit more harsh, a little bit more grim from a jobs report standpoint. And so probably the reason that she lost her job. Not saying that it was the right course of action, but probably the reason. I think if you look at the date, Friday's date was August 1st. We've been telling you for the past 4 weeks, the worst month in terms of depreciation inside the stock market is in August. It has performed the worst. Now, you can look at that from both sides, right? If it's the worst of the month and there's depreciation, that means that stocks and equities and indexes and ETFs are going to be at prices that are going to be advantageous for you to buy, right? So for the person who's been in the market and it's long term, there's going to be some pullback in August. August 1st happens. He tells us that he's going to put the tariffs. The tariffs are going into effect. Is this a long-term scenario? I don't think so. I think it's part of the natural course. Like you said, when we see markets run to an all-time high, each index, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, they all hit all-time high. They need to have a breather. We need to have a breather, right? The fact that we're having all these technology reportings, right? Microsoft went crazy, Meta went crazy, AMD is up this week. We'll see what they'll do. And we still know we got NVIDIA. We got a bunch literally this week. Their expectations have been met, and some of them have been outreached, right? When you look at Meta, this was the quarter that we thought, based on the tariffs that were implemented 2 quarters ago, we were going to see some pullbacks. We're going to see some earnings coming down. We're going to see some guidance being pulled back, and we haven't seen any of it, right? Trump, again, with the tariffs things, hurt us a little bit, but again, we rebounded. So I think this is part of the natural course.
2 things can be true at one time. So even though I don't like the criticism, Rashad, which you guys should focus on the entry points to be give. I sent it earlier, but 490 companies in the S&P have had no earnings growth since 2022. The Russell is falling apart. My new favorite thing over the last maybe 8 months has been to study cities. Las Vegas is in free fall in terms of growth. Wages are down there. So I think the Magnificent really 10 have been dragging the stock market up overall. So even though the stock market is doing incredibly well, the economy is suffering. And then, of course, traveling across the globe, and you guys can see it as well, spending is down. Even when I went to Mexico, less people visiting. There was people packed at the Bad Bunny concert, but just in Puerto Rico, the spending is less. It's a very interesting time where, and I was having this conversation with Duval, like he was saying that there is no recession because in Atlanta and certain places that, apartments and condos are being filled, but I'm like, that's for a sliver of the population. So does the market normally turn back in August? Yes. But I don't like all this financial engineering that they're doing either. Like to fire her because the jobs number was low, opposed to fixing the core issue of why the jobs are not being there. And part of it is because of AI and what's even if you look at the spending or the capex into data centers, that has put the useful office buildings almost out of business. There's like a tower in Denver that's 34 floors that sold for $3 million. That's alarming. So I think we're benefiting greatly from the companies that are doing incredibly well, the Big 10, but the Russell is almost uninvestable at this point, and majority of the S&P is not looking well. So I think two things can be true at one time. But stop criticizing.
It brings up the question, and I think what you're saying is true, right? The core 10 have carried us. How sustainable is it, and can we move on this way, right? If you think about those core 10 companies, right, based on where the future is headed in terms of technology, and pretty much all of them in technology, this looks like that could be true for a while, right? Like NVIDIA can carry us for a while. Microsoft. So how do we view that, right? Because in the typical scenario, if 6 companies were leading the market 7 years ago, you'd be like, all right, we're in trouble. Now we're looking at 10 companies that are running the market, and we're like, all right, well, we still got room to run.
The truth is, we have no other choice. Like, I've never seen so many people, I've said it before, seen so many people choose to be expats out of the country across all races. I look at a company like Salesforce, I love Mark Benioff, shout out to everyone at Salesforce, yada, yada, yada. But you would think they would have benefited greater from this AI revolution, and they haven't. Banks are sitting on a lot of losses. Like, we're just at an interesting time in history where the company, like, we're having the have and have nots in the stock market. Either you are incredibly exceptional on a path to being $1 trillion company, or you're there already, or you are lackluster. There's no in between. Like, even if you look at a company like Bank of America, they're doing solid, but no one wants to invest in Bank of America when you have crypto or NVIDIA or Supermicro. Like, all the value stocks are dying a slow death and no one's talking about it. So as a stock market, we don't have a choice right now. And my fear is, if some of these international companies start to get a headwind, like I know Novo had their run and they're falling apart now.
Yeah.
But if they truly have a deep seek moment that sticks, we are going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. But none of this matters if you hold for 10 years.
Yeah.
None of it matters if you hold for 10 years.
Yeah, if there's no AI component in your business, it feels like it almost becomes you're dormant. You're dormant.
You're done.